Yeah, right. You already know what it is, man. It's your boy Dealatofficial. And this is No Filters. Always appreciate you hitting that like button for me, subscribing to the channel so you don't miss an episode, and sharing this with the world. And of course, family, when you come in, get comfortable. Get you something to eat, get you something to drink, get you something to smoke if that's what you do. Cause you see the title, fam. Let's get into this here.
For a master plan run by a master state. Morgan is the largest group. Then there is the strong Kuhn-Loeb group, the Mellon interest, which has Westinghouse, DuPont with General Motors, and then there is Rockefeller, and three other groups, making up a grand total of some $82 billion asset in 1945. 8 groups control the American economy, not only because of their concentration of wealth, but through their strategic ownership of basic industries. In spite of war, these companies operate internationally through subsidiaries, stock participation, and cartel agreements with various other companies.
Have you ever heard of the Bilderberg Group?
No, never.
Have you ever heard of the Bilderberg Group? No, I haven't.
No, I haven't heard of that. I don't know too much about that Bilderberg thing.
Have you guys ever heard about a group called the Bilderberg Group?
No.
Yeah, for the most part.
I have not.
It sounds kind of familiar, but I couldn't tell you what it was.
No, never heard of it.
Have you ever heard of a group called the Bilderberg Group? No, I haven't.
The Builderberg? Builderberg?
Bilderberg with a G, yeah.
No. Oh, like an iceberg?
Not quite. Well, what would you say if I told you it's a group of about 120 people on average who meet once a year? These are politicians, heads of media, military men, heads of finance. They meet once a year in secret, behind closed doors, discussing foreign policy. What would you think?
What would I think?
Yeah. Do you think that's a good thing, a bad thing? Do you agree with it, disagree? Is there anything wrong with some of the most powerful and influential people in the world meeting behind closed doors and discussing things in secret?
Not really, no.
It's a smart thing to get as many brains in a room as you can to discuss things. And if you're going to have open and honest dialogue, sometimes the information should be kept within the room. If they're going to make good and careful decisions on political initiatives, they need to be able to meet with the brightest minds in the country. And I don't think necessarily that we need to be inside that meeting.
I just tend not to recognize their power and just to pretend they don't exist, because for all intents and purposes, they don't. In my world, no matter how much harm they do or how much good they think they do, I really couldn't care less.
In the spring of 1954, Joseph Redinger, a Polish political advisor and founder of the European movement that would lead to the founding of the European Union, started the Bilderberg Group, an informal and off-the-record conference for political and business elites from European and Western nations. With the help of Prince Bernhard of the Netherlands, along with other powerful politicians and businessmen, they organized the first annual Bilderberg meeting at the Hotel de Bilderberg in Oosterbeek, Netherlands. The Prince, a former executive for IG Farben and a former Nazi SS party member before the war, was also an influential executive in the oil industry, working for Royal Dutch Petroleum. As a member of the Dutch royal family and the father of the current matriarch and fellow Bilderberger Queen Beatrix, Bernhard was a very powerful and influential member of the European community. The original stated goals of the Bilderberg Group were to bring together the leaders of business, finance, and politicians from Europe and Western nations in a forum that would allow for candid and frank discussions of international issues, without the fear of being quoted or recorded. Thus, the meetings are held in secret and are by invitation only. For almost 60 years, the Bilderberg Group has been meeting behind closed doors in luxury hotels around the world to discuss in secret their plan for global control of world events and markets. Over the years, their members have included heads of state, politicians, business executives, media moguls, global financiers, military leaders, intelligence agencies.
Real quick, you in here with your boy Dilla T. This C is no filters. Hit that like button, double tap that screen. Just double tap it easy. Double tap that screen, like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss an episode, and share this with the world. And of course, family, when you come in, make sure you get comfortable. Make sure you get you something to eat, something to drink, something to smoke if that's what you do. Because right now, we're talking about the Bilderberg Group. If anybody ever heard about the Bilderberg Group, press 1 for me. But we're talking about the Bilderberg Group. We starting off back in the day when they started. Conversations that went on about people, 100 and some people that's meeting that has something to do with your future and my kids. Oh, that's different. We got to make sure we tap in. Hit that like button, double tap that screen. We got to find out what's going on in the headlines so we can read in between the lines. Let's go, fam.
Many other powerful organizations and individuals whose reach extends to every corner of the world. Some notable members have included the Rothschild banking family, Queen Beatrix of the Netherlands, Philip and Prince Charles of the British royal family, international financier David Rockefeller, and former Secretary of State Henry Kissinger. The members of the Bilderberg Group have such an influence over the media that until recent years, their name and existence has been quietly kept from the general public through a veritable media blackout. With the advent of new social media tools and advances in technology, the independent media has been exposing these annual meetings on an increasing scale. We have reached the turning point. The Bilderberg Group is now finding it almost impossible to stay out of the spotlight and hide their powerful cabal from the public.
Appreciate it, Bill.
We can talk about the 99%, but it's really the 99.99999%, because the people that are in here, they're not 1 out of 100, they're not 1 out of 1,000, they're not 1 out of 10,000, 100,000, they're more like 1 out of 1,000,000 or 10 million, or beyond that. Okay, that's right. It's the billionaire and trillionaire club, and you and I, we're not in it. We're not ever going to be in it. So we got to hold their feet to the fire. We've got to expose what's going on here. We've got to find out who the 2012 attendees are, and we've got to keep our eyes on the headlines in the next coming weeks, months, and even years to see what these associations have done geopolitically, because they'll be in the headlines. When you have someone like Davin Yan claiming, and not really claiming because he's on the inside, he would know better than you and I, that the Bilderberg Group was instrumental in creating the European Union and the Euro. I would say that's a pretty big deal. And whether that's evil or not, that's a geopolitical move. And that decision was made by this group.
What you need to do is look up who are the companies they work for, who else have they worked for, what are their agendas, what are they in the news doing. That will tell you so much about the reach of Bilderberg, about why they invite these people, and about how they put the world together. In the case of Europe, you heard that, quote, Goldman Sachs rules the world, where you've got Peter Sutherland, head of Goldman Sachs International Board of Directors out of Ireland. He's telling them to accept the austerity and the other financial plans.
Throughout history, we've had people with power attempting to consolidate their power and hold on to it. So that's really the agenda here. The agenda is to stay as powerful as possible for as long as possible and crush any competition.
Warning, criminal globalists ahead. FBI!
Successful at all in any way, shape, or form. Their businesses, their whole enterprises are failing. And what you see is people rising up. Canadian currency to the people of Canada. Although the issuance of currency is held solely by the Bank of Canada, the creation of credit through the issuance of loans is still largely controlled by private chartered banks. As part of the Bank of Canada's charter, the government can borrow up to 50% of its own money from the Bank of Canada at 0% interest. The other half of the interest is paid back into the government, allowing for the financing of our own infrastructure, such as the St. Lawrence Seaway and the Trans-Canada Highway. Because of Bilderberg member Paul Martin, Canada now borrows its money from the private chartered banks at the going interest rate, effectively handing over the usury and interest to private corporations. Prior to Prime Minister Brian Mulroney, all banks had to hold an 8% reserve, meaning they could lend out the same money 12.5 times through credit and loans. Mulroney dropped this to a 0% reserve, allowing private banks to loan as much money as they want, simply by entering a new line on a ledger. Currently, the Bank of Canada is only responsible for 5% of the actual debt created in the form of currency. The private chartered banks, such as Royal Bank of Canada and TD Bank, own the remaining 95% of all debt. Think of how much control this amounts to when you consider all of the digital payment and loan options used today, such as credit cards, debit cards, internet payments, RFID chips, smartphone purchases, and even biometric identification, which is now used in India for bank withdrawals. Very few people use real currency, and the trend is turning to an increasing reliance on digital and computer technologies, of which are largely controlled by members of the Bilderberg Group. Members of the Bilderberg Group who are involved in the Canadian banking system include President and CEO of Royal Bank of Canada, Gordon Nixon, President and CEO of TD Bank Financial Group, Edmund Clark, Deputy Chair of TD Bank Financial Group and former Canadian Ambassador to the United States, Frank McKenna, former Minister of Finance and Director of Manulife Financial, Michael Wilson, Managing Director of Credit Suisse Securities, Ronald S. Lloyd, former CEO of Scotiabank, Peter C. Godsoe, former Governor of the Bank of Canada, David A. Dodge, and Governor of the Bank of Canada and former Goldman Sachs executive, Mark Carney.
501c3 tax-exempt foundations have to make certain forms publicly available. And
see, like, this is the thing. Hit that like button, double tap that screen. This is the explanation of the conversation we're about to have right now. Because what we discussed last night is about the Trilateral Commission. Okay, the Trilateral Commission being some guys that came up with a decision to just, because they got more money than you, they just say, we finna start running stuff. Like, nobody appointed them, nobody elected them, nobody governed for them, nobody asked them. It's just some guys that got more money than you came up with the idea that they're going to have everybody that's smart, science, political, just come together in a room and make decisions about what we headed tomorrow and what we doing tomorrow. And just as well as the Bilderberg Group does the same thing, but the difference is you're talking about nothing but bankers. Why wouldn't bankers not make sense of that? Because at the end of the day, bankers got all the money. Don't the world go round off money? Don't money make the world go round? So if you think about it, they got bankers that got all the money that's making decisions for us. And at the end of the day, it's like, basically, you understand, people that have millionaires, billionaires, trillionaire, cajillionaire can do what they want, make the decisions they want, get away with things above the law. That should make you understand that the Bilderberg Group, Trilateral Commission, made up of billionaires that are above the law, that creates what law should be. And this is sad, fam, because these are just old men making the world look like it's a playground for them. And we ain't doing nothing but playing in the play. We ain't nothing but pieces to the puzzle. We ain't nothing but role players in the play. And I just wanted you to understand who the Trilateral Commission was. And then now we really want you to understand who the Bilderberg Group is. Because the difference between them, it was a bunch of men with a lot of money that came together and had a summit and told every government, y'all should pull up and listen to what we got to say. Because we have a curriculum for tomorrow's world. So now it makes the White House and the government just looks like they said, the White House is busy taking care of crisis, wars, and managing law. While these people are creating the curriculum of what tomorrow should be, how social media was created, how health is going, how the next of engineering is happening, how clothing, the new cars, the new iRobot, ChatGPT, the new Stargate, Project Blue Beam. These are men that are coming up with cartoon-like ideals, all for their liking. And they got us out here living and dying, going through real life things with our families, with our loved ones, based off of law and rule that they put in place just for fun. I mean, you really got to understand what we're discussing here. These are people that don't know nothing, but only have money, and it's telling and talking to each other about how to govern the system of people. There are stones in the middle of the land out in yonder that states about the population of the world containing to maintain at 500,000 people. I have this video for us to see this. But the thing I want you to understand is that someone wrote that rule of law on those stones about maintaining the population at 500,000 people. Now, you know we are well over. But it's just the fact that if that's written and whoever wrote that, that is what these people believe in. And if yet they can't control the growth of life, you can't stop people from having sex. So they're just creating life in and out every day. You can't stop the population from growing, but you can decrease the population slowly but surely. And that is exactly what's happening. I think in my mind every day, hit that like button, double tap that screen. You in here with your boy Dilla T, No Filters. I think in my mind that we will almost get down to 500,000. Might not be today, but as time is going, life ends every day and life starts every day. Never forget that. Life ends every day and life starts every day. And because of that, it may take more than a while to get to 500,000 people of rule of law and being governed in this new generation and world. This is a sad time because it's making us now have to look into who is really running the world. Let me say that again for the people in the back. These times are having us now think and say, who is really running the world today? And it makes us have to look into the Trilateral Commission, the Bilderberg Group, Bohemian Grove, the Council of Foreign Exchange. And it's funny because every time you find out who they are, these are just everyday next door old people, old white, old black, old Indian, old. Regular people, nothing special about them, but that they have money more than you and me. But it's nothing special about these people. Matter of fact, some of these people are sick in the brain. They should never be making decisions about tomorrow for you and me. But yet somebody said, we just gonna do what we want because we have more money than everybody. And that's just playing the biggest difference and the biggest role to me that they would even allow that to happen. Like, how does governments get a call from some old white people that got all this money talking about, hey, come to the summit, we got something to talk about. And you say, nah, who are you? And they're like, you better come. Why? Because I got some Secret Service people. I got some type of people that's running stuff because I got all the money. I can have you taken out. I mean, come on, man. You don't know how they got into power. Because it sounds like they threatened some people to create this. It sounds like the elite was created by some very powerful people that already knew the world was going around. That's real, Chris. But the point here I'm making is that I don't know how this was able to happen. I don't know how they even allowed this to happen. But the fact that it's happening, you're knowing that it's happening back then and it's happening today. Hit that like button, double tap that screen. Let's keep going.
So somebody tipped me off about this, that the 990 forms are available for the Bilderberg Group. And I got the years 2007, 2008, 2009, 2010. Well, first of all, they're operating under the 501c3 tax-exempt name American Friends of Bilderberg. The 2008 forms also show a list of very interesting donors. Henry Kissinger, $20,000. David Rockefeller, $50,000. Freeport McMorman Foundation, $10,000. Microsoft, $75,000. Peter Thiel from PayPal, $75,000. Goldman Sachs, $25,000. The Washington Post, $25,000. So, of course, the Washington Post is going to be reluctant to report on them when they are literally funding them, and I have the proof in my hand.
Governor of the Bank of Canada, David A. Dodge. and Governor of the Bank of Canada and former Goldman Sachs executive, Mark Carney.
501c3 tax-exempt foundations have to make certain forms publicly available. And so somebody tipped me off about this, that the 990 forms are available for the Bilderberg Group. And I got the years 2007, 2008, 2009, 2010. Well, first of all, they're operating under the 501c3 tax-exempt name American Friends of Bilderberg. The 2008 forms also show a list of very interesting donors. Henry Kissinger, $20,000. David Rockefeller, $50,000. Freeport McMorman Foundation, $10 grand. Microsoft, $75,000. Peter Thiel from PayPal, $75,000. Goldman Sachs, $25,000. The Washington Post, $25,000. So of course the Washington Post is going to be reluctant to report on them when they are literally funding them. And I have...
And see, I believe that too, Chris, because we got to understand something real quick. Hit that like button, double tap that screen. Listen to me. The fact that they even was here, like these are families like Morgans, Rockefellers, these are all bankers. Nothing but bankers. So the fact that they was all here before, like think about it. If we were the first people here, there we go, my people, Rothschild. That's a big name, the Rothschild. Their family is one of the first families on earth, possibly. But if we were some of the first people on earth, I'm sure that we would create a group, we would create a society, we would create a fraternity, we would create secrets. We would create. Why? Because we started this. So we know what's up. We know what's going on. So when we talk about those type of situations, I believe and truly understand why this is happening. It's not that it's happening and it's just so sick and just, oh my God. Well, you need to know why. If my family was one of the first families here on the earth, we'll be set up just like they is. What? Let's get right today. Let me say that again for the people in the back. If we was here first, we'll be set up just like them. Gajillions, holding summits, telling the White House and the police what they gonna do tomorrow, what we doing tomorrow for the world. Why? Because we was here first. So we gonna say what goes and what comes and what stopped it. We cut your water off if we want to. Why? Because we started this. Not you, we. As things always work like that. When you start something, when you create something, you can finish it. You can shut it down. It's your creation. So you have to understand the position of these people and why they're moving like they are, because at the end of the day, they was here first. And even for those that wasn't here, they were some of the first bankers. Some of their family members was their first bankers. I keep telling people, let me tell you something. If you was born into a banker's life, if you were born into a family of political situations, you either gonna be a congressman, Republican, something, mayor, councilman, something. If your family was in the presidency, you gonna end up being a president one day, whether you like it or not, whether you find out secrets of sickness or not. But the point I'm making is, if you're born in it, you're sworn to it. If you're born in it, you can't go nowhere but do your born drawn duty. Most of these people are born into this system. Most of these people have family members that's political. When you talk about fraternities of skull and bones, those type of people had to go to that because your mom and daddy was a government official and they put you in that school because they knew at some point you gonna have to take over and take the throne. Shout out to a man in the building. Understand what's really real. We hit that like button, family. Become a member right now. Let me tell you something. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss an episode and share this with the world. Become a member today. We're here to join. Let me tell you something. You can be a sponsor. Join members right now. No filter. So understand what it takes. But I'm trying to learn you something, fam. If we was here first, we will be the first ones to put together the whole situation. We'll design the whole system to our liking. So at the end of the day, anybody that don't fit can be wiped out. And that's what's come about this. Stay with me, because I'm giving you Bilderberg Group back then. Shout out to you, man. I'm giving you Bilderberg Group back then, and then I'm going to give you today's 2026 Bilderberg Group. And this is really going to hit different because they still exist. It's still happening, but it's happening in the modern day system, not back then. I'll show you back then so you can know that they had already been planning what today is. Let me say that again for somebody in the back. What? I'm showing you the back in the day film so you can see how amped they was about the Bilderberg Group and what they were doing, creating the Bilderberg Group, making decisions of tomorrow, which are today. So back then, they was already making these decisions for today. And now today, we live in it of what the Bilderberg Group made back then. And now today, I'm going to show you who the Bilderberg Group is today so you can know the decisions they making for the future, for your kids. Oh, somebody ain't heard me here. Somebody about to get smacked. You understand? Because every member of the Bilderberg Group need to get double slapped on sight. Back then, they was making decisions for the day, and today they making decisions for the future. Hit that like button, double tap that screen. We're here to learn you something. Let's go.
Proof in my hand.
Now, even the paper that he has in his hand, it talks about all of these donations and all of these people that's sponsoring. And these are all the major corporations in major cities and major everything. But the point we're making is, let's get right, fam. The point we're making is, why would these people be funding them? Why? Because they become the resource. They become the voice. They become the resource for the Bilderberg Group to operate discreetly, conveniently, and without regard. And the fact that they can operate without regard, conveniently, discreetly, everybody is funding them. Why would they be sending them 75,000, 20,000, 25,000, 75,000? Why is the Washington Journal sending this? These are the owners of these companies sending this money, by the way. As if you have to send, as if you have to pay to stay. Whoop, whoop. Let me say that again for somebody in the back. These companies are sending donations to the Bilderberg Group as if they got to cash or pay their way. So it's a big difference, fam, when we're talking about this, because if you got to pay your way to stay in the system, because some old people that started the world say, but I get it because they started the world. So even in them starting the world, they got all the same. Woo! Hit that like button, double tap that screen. Let's go.
The 501c3 tax exempt name American Friends of Bilderberg. The 2008 forms also show a list of very interesting donors. Henry Kissinger, $20,000. David Rockefeller, $50,000. Freeport McMorman Foundation, $10,000. Microsoft, $75,000. Peter Thiel from PayPal, $75,000. Goldman Sachs, $25,000. The Washington Post, $25,000. So of course the Washington Post is going to be reluctant to report on them when they are literally funding them, and I have the proof in my hand.
You love Savvy TV in the building.
Other large donors of the Bilderberg Group include $25,000 from Lazard, a large investment bank which is based in New York's Rockefeller Center. Lazard is one of the key players in the Bilderberg finances, attending dozens of meetings over the years.
Now look at what I'm saying. Now look at that. Now look at that, fam. That's what I'm saying. This is a black man, black old man. See, we ain't never said it was just white folk. I said old white men, old black men, old Indians, old everybody. But it's just a fact. They old. And this man got a bank inside of Rockefeller's Plaza in New York. But who the name that we keep hearing come up? Rockefeller. So this man Rockefeller is part of the Trilateral Commission and the Bilderberg Group. Whoop, whoop. Let's get right today. This type of nefarious work being done by people like Rockefeller alone, and yet he is still, his family name still lives on today. Even in the Zeitgeist movie, David Rockefeller, the new today Rockefeller, was having a conversation with somebody about how they gonna have people in caves. How they gonna have soldiers in caves looking for somebody and nobody's not even gonna be there. I mean, it's the conversation one of the Rockefellers was having with the reporter, with a guy that he had brought in to be funny about. And he said, yeah, you know, we're just gonna have people in caves. We're gonna have soldiers in caves looking for Bin Laden, looking for guys, and there's nobody even gonna be there. He said, you know the point of Planned Parenthood? Man, let's get right. He said, did you know the point of Planned Parenthood? Press 1 if you hear me right now in the comments. That man talked about, did you know what Planned Parenthood was for? The Bilderberg Group and the Trilateral Commission came up with the ideal to put Planned Parenthood in the world to get kids and young girls to stray away from their mothers and fathers to make their own decisions with Planned Parenthood. That's basically a psychological situation. Why? Because you talk about a young girl finding herself getting pregnant. And instead of her telling her mother and father, she finds out about Planned Parenthood. And in Planned Parenthood, you find out that you can do what you pretty much want to. You can make your own decision without consulting with anyone. So that's why they wanted to call it Planned Parenthood, because they try to make you feel like you can make these decisions without consulting with anybody. And that is the point of them enhancing these young people and telling them to have a voice, to do thou wilt, do what thou wilt, and that's not the way of life. So we talk about people like Bill Gates that's been out here for a while, that's been cooking this, cooking that, cooking corruption, cooking it all in one. In the same sense, that is crazy that you never knew that Planned Parenthood was set to mislead kids away from their families, away from their mothers and fathers, to make their own decisions, to where at some point they will be trapped in the world on their own because they have abandoned their parents, abandoned their family, and now all they believe is Planned Parenthood and whatever the system says. This is the plans of the Bilderberg Group and the Trilateral Commission about you, our families, in life, kids, and a future of tomorrow. And this man right here, or one of many that is sitting at that round table making those decisions. Diabolical, nefarious, heinous work. Crazy work, fam. Notorious work. Hit that like button, double tap that screen. Let's go. We cooking.
Another large donor and regular attendee to Bilderberg is co-founder of Kohlberg, Kravis, Robertson Company, Henry Kravis. KKR is a private equity firm with over $62 billion in assets as of 2011. Kravis donated $50,000 in 2008 to the Bilderberg Group. Billionaire financier David Rockefeller of Chase Manhattan Bank has been a steady donor to the Bilderberg meetings and has been a cornerstone of the group's development, attending nearly every conference since its inception in 1954. Rockefeller is an honorary lifetime chairman of the Bilderberg Group and has been involved in the development of many other powerful globalist think tanks, such as the Trilateral Commission and the Council on Foreign Relations. In 1965, David Rockefeller gave a speech to the International Industrial Conference in San Francisco, where he said, "We have entered upon an era in which interdisciplinary cooperation on a worldwide basis must be the cornerstone of accomplishment. Each of us has the duty to fashion his own contribution to fit the grand design of a global community. For many of us, the marketplace of tomorrow will be no less than this whole planet of Earth. What we do will manifest itself in ways that we cannot foretell, and it will have an unforeseen impact upon individual lives and whole societies. What we are is God's gift to man. What we become is man's gift to God."
The Rockefeller-Rothschild merger that just occurred yesterday obviously had some things in the works before that. But for those that don't know, the Rothschilds have bought up 37% of the main financial institute of the Rockefellers. They're going to be talking about swallowing up smaller financial institutions. And like they say in the article, essentially they see opportunity in crisis. And we've known some smaller banks, a lot of smaller banks have gone down in the last 2 or 3 years. Well, now they're consolidating power. They're going to buy up those smaller banks. And don't be surprised if you see them bail out or take a large stake in some of the bigger banks that have been having problems, such as maybe even Bank of America and JP Morgan.
With the National Archives, you want to depopulate. It's on the record, Henry Kissinger.
A lot of these globalists, a lot of these Bilderbergers are on the record saying that they want global depopulation, and they're proud of it.
War criminal Henry Kissinger has set foot in the Westfield Marriott Hotel in Chantilly, Virginia. We have him on video entering the hotel, and we would like for you gentlemen to go inside the hotel and arrest Kissinger for his war crimes.
Former Secretary of State Henry Kissinger has been deeply involved in the Bilderberg Group, attending dozens of their meetings over the years and acting on the Bilderberg Steering Committee. Kissinger faces allegations of war crimes for his involvement in the secret bombing campaign that took place in Cambodia during the Vietnam War in the 1970s. It is alleged that Kissinger willfully engaged in the murder of tens of thousands of civilians in various areas of Cambodia, which led to the destabilization of the country into a civil war, resulting in the rise of the infamous Khmer Rouge. Kissinger is also wanted in several countries for his involvement in supporting the Pinochet regime and the CIA-backed coup that took place in Chile on September 11, 1973. Pinochet, who is now facing a war crimes tribunal, murdered the democratically elected President Salvador Allende and started a military junta, which resulted in the kidnapping, forced displacement, and torture of thousands of men, women, and children in Chile. Henry Kissinger actively supported these actions that were taking place at that time, which constituted crimes against humanity. Kissinger was also involved in a controversial study in 1974 called National Security Study Memorandum 200, in which the basic thesis called for an active campaign for the depopulation of several less developed countries to stem the risk for civil unrest.
Are you still giving out orders like Memorandum 200, where you said depopulation should be allowed? Sorry, just a question. I'm not going to go to hell. Memorandum 200, sir? Memorandum 200? Just ask him a question about Memorandum 200 that he wrote in April 24, 1974. It's an honest question. Okay. Kissinger, Memorandum 200. Depopulation.
We're on topic now. We came here, we give you the access. If you want to burn bridges, you can do that.
I don't want to burn any bridges. I wasn't disrespectful. I wasn't accusatory. It was a serious question.
We're on top.
Okay, I understand that. So what about the depopulation? I mean, Memorandum 200. Why are you afraid to talk about your depopulation plan?
Why don't you get lost?
Why should I get lost? It's serious. Sick. How am I sick? You're the one committing.
I hope it's the beginning of a whole new epoch of greater and greater coverage. At the same time, we're also trying to have a reach over the web.
The Bilderberg Group include many prominent members of the internet and computing world, including National Security Agency Director and Chief of the United States Cyber Command, General Keith B. Alexander, co-founder of Facebook, Chris Hughes, founder of PayPal and Chief Facebook Investor, Peter Thiel, Executive Chairman of Google, Eric Schmidt, founder of Amazon, Jeff Bezos, co-founder of LinkedIn, Reid Hoffman, Vice President, European Commission, Commissioner for Digital Agenda, Neelie Kroes, Chief Research and Strategy Officer, Microsoft Corporation, Craig J. Mundy, and many others.
More and more, we're seeing iron curtain and media censorship on Builderberg and shadow government, shadow elite.
They just said Facebook, PayPal, who else?
Members of the internet and computing world, including National Security Agency Director and Chief of the United States Cyber Command, General Keith B. Alexander, co-founder of Facebook, Chris Hughes, founder of PayPal and Chief Facebook Investor, Peter Thiel, Executive Chairman of Google, Eric Schmidt, founder of Amazon, Jeff Bezos, co-founder of LinkedIn, Mundy, and many others.
More and more, we're seeing iron curtain and media censorship on Builderberg and the shadow government, shadow elite, pulled back. So we're seeing Builderberg basically try to pass the baton off to younger people right now. A bunch of tech folks, Google, Facebook, and others, hoping that the police state tech grid can protect their criminal activity. They're trying to push it.
Okay, so this is Alex Jones right here. I was talking about, fam, the other day, because Alex Jones has been a strong advocate against Bilderberg, Trilateral, Bohemian, Freemasonry, who else? The Council of Foreign Relations. I mean, like he's been strong about his stance about these people not being right, about them electing these people, about people just choosing to just do this out of nowhere. Nobody asked for this to be done. It's just this man Rockefeller said, hey, listen, we need to bring together all of the people that got all of the money and power, and we need to make sure everybody know that each and every one of them has a sworn duty, a sworn duty to move the world in a certain way or to move the world in a direction that they see fit. And they said that it's vital that we have control over the masses moving forward in the future. That's crazy.
Global bank is the solution to all our problems that they created. They're openly trying to push more police state systems. They want to end internet freedom. They want to bring in internet IDs.
The mainstream media is no longer mainstream. The alternative is taking over, and they're trying their damnedest to...
Let me just say this too, fam. It's only so the amount of things they can do that's against law, but they can create things to dance around the law, meaning they're not really checking with the law to do something. They're implementing what they want done, but they have to do it in a way that is still systematic to where it wouldn't seem like it's bullying, or it wouldn't seem like, hey, martial law, boom. So instead of them just doing that, they have to create things that says, hey, we may need martial law, or let's consider martial law. You get what I'm saying, fam? It's a way they know how to go about it just to make sure that we still don't see them for who they really are. Let me say that again for the people in the back. It's a way they have to go around about it so we don't see who they really are. Because if they really was to operate the way they really want to operate, we would see them in a different light. We would be looked at as, they would be looked at like bullying, taking over the world, like, you know, and they don't want a world like that. Think about it. If they wanted a world like that where they could just take over and bully us, then they wouldn't do everything in a way that it looks good, or a way that it looks like everything is smiles and everything is happy. And okay, we putting cameras on top of the headlights, so you know, so we can catch people speeding that ride past the light, right? Remember that? They putting cameras on top of the headlights, on top of the street lights. No, on top of the what is that? The red light, green light, yellow light. You put cameras up there so they tell you it's up there for speeding. But really, them cameras up there to keep eyes on all of us when it's time for it to go down. So when we talk about martial law, and we talking about curfew, and we talking about RFID chips that you got to get just to eat and breathe, now they got cameras already up there surveilling you and me and us. But everything was always put up there for a good reason. Anything that they do, they always say it's for good reason. Anything, I don't care what it is, any and everything is always got to be for a good reason, a convenient reason. Let me say that. Thank you, Lord. Convenient reasons. And those type of reasons, they making everything so convenient. Like, think about it. First, they had the TV. And then you get your phone. And then they got the app. And then you can stream. And then you get to watch. And then you can watch TV from the app on your phone, or you watch in your face. You ain't even got to wait till you get home no more. Everything is so convenient. Look at your neighbor and say, everything is convenient. I don't care who you buy, who you know, type it in here. Type in, everything is convenient. And because of that, that is our downfall to our life being ended. The fact that convenience is being used. That is the ending of our lives right there. Why? Because they keep ushering in more convenience. They continue to come up with something that will be convenient for you to see it, use it, operate in it, and now it's become a lifelong thing for you and me. The convenience of ChatGPT puts you in a position to have a relationship with a robot because of the convenience it is to ask him instead of go look it up your damn self. Let me say that again for the people in the back still rolling up. Just as well as ChatGPT is so convenient. That's the relationship you build, and now all of a sudden you're leaning on them more than you are yourself. You trust in ChatGPT more than you trust in God. Because everything is so more convenient. Oh, I feel for you. Hit that like button, double tap that screen. Let me tell you something. If it walk like a, talk like a, it's a duck, you better know what's real. You're going to see it. It's going to walk like it. It's going to talk like it. You're going to have to identify what that is. But let me tell you something. It's called convenience. If you ain't got it by now, we talking about convenience. The Bilderberg Group is building conveniently for us to live in a bad world, but you don't even know because it's so convenient. You don't even know we're going through something right now because everything is still convenient. We at world war, and yet we move like there ain't no war going on. Why? Because everything is still happening in a convenient way. War is not at your doors. The fact that war is not at your door and everything is still convenient for you and me, we ain't really tripping. But the moment convenience is taken away, the moment convenience is, you better hear me right now, the moment your convenience is challenged, everything ain't looking too convenient anymore. All of a sudden, you got to go back to what you know. Let me tell you something. We was all raised a certain way. A lot of us had to live in the struggle. A lot of us know how to struggle. But the fact that convenience has come and took away that struggle, we don't know what that's like no more. Lord, I thank you that we ain't got to struggle no more. But let me tell you something. It's going to come a day where the convenience is going to be moved and you have to go back to what you was taught to live in your convenience. Tell somebody it ain't too good to be so convenient nowadays. Woo! Tell somebody it ain't too good to be convenient nowadays. Everything looks so good. Everything is a push of a button. Everything is a swipe of a switch. Everything ain't nothing but a voice. Everything is a face recognition. But the convenience gonna kill you. The convenience is gonna take your life. Because you so convenient, you don't even know what war is going on. You don't even know when your life is in danger because everything is so conveniently happening around you. Tell somebody stop being convenient. No, tell them right now. Tell somebody stop being so convenient. Let me tell you something. We living in a time where the good is looked at as bad and bad is looked at as good. And there's no way we can look past that because of the convenience of the world, the convenience of a button, the convenience of a speech, of a conversation. They know what they're doing in all of this convenient living and how they're creating everything that's just a grasp of a touch, a glance of a look, a reach out and just a grab. Let me tell you how it's going to hurt our kids. Everything is going to be so convenient for our kids that they're not even going to know how to survive. Because all of the convenience that gives them options. So many options. They'll never know how to struggle. They'll never know what to do if they got to struggle. They'll never know if they're challenged. They'll never know how to solve the problem. Because the convenience of AI, the convenience of ChatGPT, the convenience of the tablet, the convenience of that phone. You better hear me today. The convenience of just ask Siri. What? You almost ain't got to get up and do nothing to find out something. And they turn our kids apart. They making our kids think that they don't need. They making our kids think that they ain't got to work for it. Making our kids think that you ain't got to get back up when you go back down. You ain't got to get back up when you fall back down. They making our kids think that it ain't okay to cry because everything is in arm's reach. Why you crying? Everything around you, what you crying for? You got so many options to live. What? That ain't life. That ain't living. That ain't real. I want my kids to have what I never wanted, but I want them to earn it. Woo! You better hear what I just said. Hit that like button, double tap that screen. I want my kids to have what I never had, but I want them to earn it. Because if you work for it, Lord, it's worth it more than somebody just gave it to you. You know how much more it work. You know how much more you matter when you work for it. It matters so much more to you when you work for it. Boy, I can't tell you the difference. I can tell you the difference. Somebody give it to you, they can take it away. If you work for it, it's yours. And the fact that you put all that into it, you value it more. What happened to them days? What happened to that? Convenience. Say it's worth it to work for it. Tell somebody right now, type it in. It's worth it to work for it. Say it's mine, you can't take it from me. I work for it. I don't want nothing given because they can take it away. But Lord, I work for it. Lord Jesus, is mine. You can't have it. My name on that, I work for that. That's mine. That's the difference. Hit that like button, double tap that screen. You learning something today. Tell somebody it ain't all good to be convenient.
Restrict or shut down the free internet as we know it right now.
The increase of internet-based media has been closely correlated with the decrease of traditional forms of media, such as newspapers and television, which have been monopolized by members of the Bilderberg Group. In their efforts to maintain the control of information globally, influential figures of the media have been routinely invited to participate in the conferences over the years. Peter Mansbridge of CBC's The National attended the meeting in 2010 and has maintained their strict rules for secrecy ever since. Fellow Canadian Heather Reisman is the CEO of Indigo Books, the largest book supplier in Canada, and she is a member of the Bilderberg Steering Committee. In 2005, Reisman founded the Heseg Foundation, which provides grants to former lone soldiers in the Israeli army to pursue post-secondary education. A lone soldier is an individual who is not from Israel, but chooses to fight in the Israeli military. Other media moguls and organizations that have attended the Bilderberg meetings over the years have included Rupert Murdoch of News Corporation, Andrew Knight of News Corporation and The Economist, Ted Turner of Time Warner and CNN, Charlie Rose, Donald Graham of The Washington Post, and Canadian media baron and former Bilderberg Steering Committee member Conrad Black of Hollinger International and the Telegraph newspaper.
And
While
see,
all of these powerful
and we have to make sense of this. All of these powerful media people are in place for them to control them. It's like, okay, they donating all the money to the Bilderberg Group. Think about it. Rockefeller donated $50,000. Other people donated $20,000, $75,000, $100,000, another $20,000, whatever, right? So they donate that money to their organization. Excuse me. They donate that money to their organization for the fact that they can fund whatever they want to fund. Example. They're able to fund the next pandemic. They're able to fund any new technology that they want to bring aboard. So I'm trying to tell you that the fact that these same billionaires and millionaires are donating to the group that they're in, I'm like, why they donating? Why they putting money into what they, and I'm like, oh, that's what they doing. They funding whatever they want to do in the world. Because in my head, I'm like, they got all this money. Why they, okay, that makes sense. They're funding it because they have to pay for security. They got to pay for all of this sneakiness going on. They got to compensate people. They got to do a lot, and they got to have the money to do it. But it's just funny how everybody got the money, so they all just chipping in. I mean, they making up millions real fast. When these people got billions. They said that one guy had 62 billion in assets. 62 billion. He didn't say million, he trillion. No. He said 62 billion in assets. Clearly his life is just scheduled. So when they're talking about how we missing the mark, we are truly behind. Because these people have been funded for years. Hit that like button, double tap that screen, let's go.
Media organizations have been present at Bilderberg meetings over the years. There has remained a media blackout all across the board regarding coverage of this group.
I was just wondering what your opinions were. You talk a little bit about it in the book of the influence of the bill.
Because see, you got to understand, having $1 billion, you become a little, like things become a little more scary for you at $1 billion. And I'm just being real, Nene, because at $1 billion, now you have to you're on the radar of the world now. You can't even have $1 billion in the world and not have to do some type of donations to some fundraiser, not having your own charity, not having people constantly coming at you trying to get you to invest in things. I mean, having $1 billion is really not a peaceful place. Because even having that billion, when the elite finds out you have $1 billion and you black, oh, they really gonna find out like how you even get that. Like who let you get that? That's how they look at this. That's how Trilateral, that's how Bilderberg, that's how the people of the Boule, that's how these companies looking at you like, hold up, Dirty, who signed off on your black self, on your black, to be getting $1 billion? And if that's the case, they want to know, did you go through all of the sworn in situations you got to go through? Dorothy in the building. You get what I'm saying? Like, it makes you wonder that. It makes you think that. It makes you say, wow, you get $1 billion, you're going to be worried out here because somebody's going to be pressing you to do a lot. That is what's going on with them. You will never have real peace in $1 billion in this world because things are required of you at that point. And I never could understand that. Like, why all of a sudden I got $1 billion, everybody pressing me? And I ain't talking about just people in the hood or something. I'm talking about $1 billion and now you got to take care of the world. Now they expect you to fund the world, do something with the world, be a part of the world's growth. That ain't making no sense to me, fam. But that's how they view, that's how it is. So to me, it ain't like you just gonna have $1 billion and kick it and do whatever you want whenever you want to do it. Yeah, that's cool, but you still got to do other things. Let's go. This today is the Bilderberg Group. Take a listen. 2026 Bilderberg. Let's go.
The second Bilderberg meeting ran from April 9th to April 12th. Just wrapped up at the Salamander Hotel. Some journal. Bilderberg. While the public was busy watching the daily chaos cycle of one of the most secretive power gatherings in the world was happening in Washington, D.C., the 72nd Bilderberg meeting ran from April 9th to April 12th, just wrapped up at the Salamander Hotel. Some journalists tried to get their hands on some information there. They were trying to get some people on camera. Like Dan Dix was capturing a bunch of information there as well. But the official agenda had AI, China, Russia, the Middle East, the transatlantic defense industrial relationship, even the future of warfare was a big discussion of the Bilderbergs. Here's the head of MI6. She's just walking out casually. There she is. Like she's not even trying to hide it. Like Britain's top spy is at the Bilderbergs meeting there. No, notice that green fence that they set up. They set up this big green fence to try to keep the press away. But unfortunately, the wind in Washington just kept blowing it down.
Now, what I say, Chris, what I hit that like button, double tap that screen. I know what I'm talking about. What I say. I said they donate money to these companies, to the Bilderberg Group, so they can fund whatever and whoever they need for whatever they want to do tomorrow with your life. Why would you have MI6 coming out of there? This is a spy. That's a spy coming out of your house, coming out of a meeting with Bilderberg Group. So now you like, okay, so they got spies coming out of her, fam. It's like, okay, so so hold up. We in the van and we looking at the Bilderberg Group having a meeting and we see a spy from MI6 come out. And we like, hold up, fam, look. You know how you hit your friend, like, look. Ain't that old girl from MI6? And you like, oh yeah. And it's like, okay, so now they talking to spies. Okay, we gotta get real now, because if you ain't talking to spies, then they mean they creeping and crawling all through her and they doing everything they want to do. They got spies, man, they got spies tapping into your computer, doing all type of crazy. You talking about you should be scared of the Bilderberg Group? They could send a spy to your house. Can just send a spy to your house, end you, and it's over. Can send spies over there to another country to get some information that only they want and know that they shouldn't even have, but yet they can do that because they got spies. You see what I'm saying, fam? That ain't making no sense. Because now to have spies, it just makes everything look like they're doing things illegally under the radar, and they're using spies to creep around and get it done. That's gotta sit different on your conscience, man. Like, what? That's gotta hit different on you, fam, that spies are involved. So just so you know, Bilderberg Group got spies. That's what we see. Let's keep going. What?
I just hope that's just like, I don't know, that's like a metaphor. I hope that that's a metaphor for all the wind that's blowing this down. Dan Dix captured this footage outside the hotel. He's like, I'm a journalist. I'm not going to help you pick this damn thing up. Keeps blowing down. I'm just going to get more footage. Peter Thiel, also there. He was caught on camera. Plenty of other globalists. There's Peter Thiel coming out there. Your friend from Palantir. Andrew Goff is a researcher, writer, and television presenter on various historical conundrums and joins us once again here on the show to talk about the Bilderbergs, the secret meeting, and what we may have uncovered. Andrew, great to see you. Welcome back.
Thanks so much, guys. It's a pleasure to be back. Thanks for having me on the show.
Our pleasure. So when we throw the term Bilderbergs around, for some people, they don't realize it's, goes back 70-some years. But what exactly is the Bilderberg organization, and why should we even care about it?
Organizations like this, I really try to take the straight and narrow and use Occam's razor and give them the benefit of the doubt at the start. But it doesn't take long to realize that the Bilderberg Group is not a think tank with an agenda that's looking after our best interest. It appears to be far more nefarious. And I always like to look at the origins of this group. The Bilderberg Hotel, the Netherlands, 1954. Prince Bernhard of the Netherlands created this group of elite, from politicians to media to CEOs of high-tech companies and just international who's who, to come together. Now, what's interesting about him is he was a card-carrying Nazi. He was convicted of bribes with Lockheed. He was in unison with...
Now, I heard that out. That man said he was a Nazi. He said the man was a Nazi. What?
To CEOs of high-tech companies and just international who's who, to come together. Now, what's interesting about him is he was a card-carrying Nazi. He was convicted of bribes with Lockheed. He was in unison with David Rockefeller. So big yellow, red flags right at the start of the conception of the Bilderberg Group. As you said, an organization that just celebrated its 72nd annual meeting, alternating between Europe. Last year was Stockholm. This year was Washington, D.C.
Well, here's something that'll make you look at your rain jacket differently. Most waterproof jackets, the ones from those big outdoor brands, the ones you've been wearing for years, they're coated with something called PFAS. Yeah, they call them forever chemicals because they don't break down, not in the environment, not on your body, not ever. PFAS are what make the water beat up and roll off of your jacket. So that's that satisfying moment where the rain just hits the fabric, just slides right off. Yeah, that's a toxic chemical doing its job. And then doing its other job is poisoning you slowly. That's why I want to tell you about the Bearskin Heavy Storm Rain Jacket. It's rated to 20,000 millimeter waterproof. That's expedition grade. That's the same rating that you'd find on serious mountain gear, but it uses 0 PFAS, forever chemicals. None. No chemicals on the membrane, the coating, or the waterproof treatment. That's a 20,000 millimeter waterproof rating without the poison. That's a rain jacket innovation that you can try out for yourself. On top of that, it packs into its own pocket, so you can actually stash it in your bag, your trunk.
What?
For everyone to see. Now, compare and contrast that with the Bilderberg Group, which is between 100 and 150 members, invitation only, private. They announce the location just weeks before every year. Doesn't stop good journalists from finding out and filming and seeing who's actually attending. And what's really interesting about them is they use the Chatham House Rules. And this in part is how we know what it is their agenda is and what they're talking about. Chatham House, 1927, the Royal Institute of International Affairs in London came up with this policy of it's okay to have a private meeting and you can talk about what was discussed publicly, but you can't say who said it or who they said it to. So in that regards, it's semi-private, but that's how we learn about the agenda of what the Bilderberg Group is on about. And the topics are, as Clayton has shared, really cutting edge. AI, right? The future of warfare. Why can't we have an agenda item that says the future of world peace?
Right. No, because you have Peter Thiel there and Palantir, who's making billions of dollars off of the war. So they can't have peace talk.
Oh, exactly. And you mentioned like the chief of MI6 attending. Now, MI6 is I'm speaking to you from London tonight, and they're the equivalent of our CIA, right? And they focus only on international affairs. They can't make policy. They can't arrest anyone. But guess what their ethos is? It's all about relationships, access, and influence. And that's exactly what Bilderberg is about. It's like these octopus, spidery tentacles going out into the world to disseminate the propaganda that was on the agenda in the annual meeting.
Right, you're great point, because there's no voting, there's no resolutions, right. There's no policy statements, they don't issue anything. It's all about getting like Peter Thiel and the head of MI6 and these other nefarious players in a room together so they can rub elbows. But that's really where the real power comes from. That's where there might not be any votes or any policy papers, but that's really where all the policy comes from, these clowns getting together. So do we get any pieces of information at all out of this meeting? Like, do we know where they stand on AI, Andrew? Do we know where they stand on the future of warfare? Do we know where they stand on China and Russia and these other things that were on the agenda? Or are we just left to guess?
Well, I think we can infer based upon the agenda what their position is going to be. And for instance, it's really interesting. They had an agenda topic about Arctic security. And what is that? Well, it's Greenland, and they have like really high officials, both current and past, from Greenland present, as if to tell Trump that, hey, this is not going to be as easy as you think it is. But the Arctic security is interesting because the very first Bilderberg meeting, guess what was on the agenda? What was happening at that time was the Antarctica Treaty. You have Cold War documents talking about Russia studying the firmament, that snow globe that encapsulates Earth. And you need an organization just to make sure you can disseminate the propaganda to control these things. So what's going on with preventing Trump from taking over Greenland? Is there something beyond that they're trying to control? Maybe it's they don't want people talking about BlackRock. What is BlackRock? Well, not the conglomerate, but the magnetic center of the Earth. There's so much that Bilderberg can influence, especially when at its core are all the media heads of the world's leading magazines and newspapers.
No, that's such a great point. So very, yeah.
Clayton brought up, what are their stances on Russia and China? There are no Eastern leaders. It is all what.
She says no Eastern leaders. It's all not Eastern leaders. And then on top of that, they said also too, the fact that they want to do what they want to do the way they want to do it, it don't even matter because they have the means and money to do it. So we just wanted to bring more light and attention to their situation tonight because at the end of the day, these are people that don't check in with nobody about nothing. This is just a secret little society that all we know is the name and how they operate, but we don't know the who, the what, the why. And I think the why always comes back down to one world government. As always, fam, you know what the deal is. You know what the level is and what it ain't and what it's not. I truly appreciate it. As always, I truly appreciate each and every one of y'all pulling up, man, Monday through Friday, 9 p.m. with your boy Dealatofficial, here understanding that we here to read the headline and we really here to read in between the line. Because we know if it walk like a, talk like a, it's a duck and we ready to duck hunt all season long. You feel me, fam? As always, I truly appreciate you taking time out, you and your family, making sure that you're here to understand that you can become a member to join today. And then also subscribe to the channel so you don't miss an episode and share this with the world. And of course, family, when you come in, make sure you get comfortable. Never forget about that raffle. One woman, one man definitely would win. No Filters Classic Raffle, sponsored by your girl, Nene Lil Savvy TV, in the building as always. As always, family, I truly appreciate each and every one of you all taking time to care, taking time to like, taking time to share. Definitely understanding that at the end of the day, you in here with your boy Dilla T, my fan. And this is No Filters. Good night, family. Y'all be safe. Make sure your door is locked. God bless.